All right. Welcome back for another episode of Coach's Corner with on the podcast Cycling Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling podcast, and your host Sylvie D'Aoust, Coach Sylvie. And today I have to apologize. Obviously, you're getting this. This is late, later than 12. Maybe you listen to it later on, but anyways, it is late and I apologize. This week has been exceptionally redonkulous. I mean, I don't know what it is. And here, I'll give you a little bit of why this wasn't done this morning, because I feel that I have to share. You guys are listening, and I'll just give you a little bit of background about me. And I have to share a little bit more about me and what I'm up to. All I'm going to say, right, well, I'm not going to say, but what happened this morning, it has to do with divorce and child support. So if that doesn't turn your head, maybe you're like, oh, divorce, yeah, oh, child support, double yeah. So that's what I was taking care of this morning. Now, just a little backtrack. I was married 15 years ago. I have an 18-year-old daughter. She's absolutely amazing. I love her to death. She just started college. And anyways, so the thing is that she lived with me for 8 years. Her dad gave up custody. I know, bastard. But here, I knew it was gonna happen. I am certainly grateful that we have never fought over anything when it came to child support and our daughter, which is really great, because I've heard of so many horror stories out there. Parents just going after each other, putting the kids in the middle, and that's just something that we never ever wanted to do. I mean, you have to let go of your ego, right? Like, so he gave up custody of her back when she was 8, and that was when I married my life partner, John. Also was a friend of mine and my ex-husband's, funny enough. Anyways, that's a long story. We need to go in the comments if you want to hear all about the stories. I got lots of stories. So anyways, he gave up custody. He was with his wife. They moved to a further away. So it almost made sense. Like, he was in another province, which, if you know where we live, Hull and Ottawa, they're pretty much beside each other, but they're separated by a big river. So her staying in school around me did not make sense for him and child support. So I get it. So anyways, he paid child support, and then when she turned 16, she wanted to go and live with her dad, and rightfully so. She hadn't seen a lot of her dad, because he remarried, he had kids of his own, and so she moved to the city. So then I just started paying child support, right? So if you're sitting there, we all sit there, oh my God, child support is expensive, or you think you're getting a great deal of getting child support, and then it whips back around and you have to start paying. So anyways, but now that was when she was 16. And now that she's 19, she's not a minor anymore, and she's going to school. And if you've ever dealt with child support, based on where you are, here in Canada, in Quebec, there is a formula. You put your tax receipt, your income tax in, your number, how much you made that year, and some other numbers for expenses, and then it plunks out, this is how much you should be paying for child support. So my income dropped considerably, based because we were income splitting with my husband, and really the amount that I was paying was based on his income, not mine. So and then the rules changed in Quebec, and we weren't allowed income splitting anymore. And so then it was like my income, which was way less than his income. And so we decided, yeah, we're going to go back to the lawyers and have it changed. And plus she was in school and all this stuff. So anyways, that's what I was taking care of. Yeah. That's what I was taking care of. And it was taking care of getting all the signatures, because I have to get my signature, my husband's signature, my ex, and my daughter. So go try and get all of us together. So anyways, I was driving around getting all that done because, yeah, I have to stop that next withdrawal from my bank account. Anyways, so that was what I was up to. And thanks for listening. And, you know, if you have a similar story, I would highly recommend just going to YouTube. If you listen to this on YouTube, that's where you can put a lot of comments and or message me and follow me on Instagram, and I'll respond there. Now, let's get to the podcast, because that is not what we're going to be talking about, but I just want to let you in on a little bit of what's going on in my life. It also is October 1st. Yeehaw! I love October. This is when the month that we got married. This is also when the leaves change and everything gets so beautiful, yellow and orange and reds, and these are all my favorite colors. And Halloween happens this month. So, but we're not going to be talking about that. One of my favorite holidays. It's not really a holiday, but and I'm just friggin' tired. I don't know what it is. I think I'm still recovering from that event 2 weeks ago. And that being said, I've started reading quite a bit about older athletes and performance. And I think I'm going to be sharing a whole lot of that on here because, like I said, I just turned 50, and I know from feeling from my body that things are changing. And you can sit there and go, you know, I'm still the fit, healthy, you know, 40-year-old, you know, I feel like I'm 40, but I'm 50 and I'm doing all this stuff. But we really do have to pay more attention to our bodies and our rest and our recovery and all these things, our nutrition. And like I had no idea. I'll tell you right now, I have if I will put the link to this book in the show notes, but if you've ever picked up one of Joe Friel's athlete or training Bibles, he has one training for the 50-year-old. You know, he's an older guy now. And I'm going to get him on the podcast again, talking about training in our 50s, because I got his book on Audible, and I've been listening to it every time I go driving and when I'm gardening and when I'm riding. So I'm taking notes, but like it is phenomenal how many things we should be thinking about and considering. And if we're training for competition, like how do we structure that with regards to recovery and base building to intensity to listening to heart rate and oh my God. Anyways, if you're interested in hearing more of that, go to YouTube and say, just give me a thumbs up or a like over there. And if you're wondering how to get over to YouTube, all you have to do is go to the show notes. The very top link is the YouTube link to this podcast, and it'll just bring you right over there. And also, make sure that you follow the podcast on Instagram, because if you want to find any one of the episodes, all you have to do is go to Instagram, Secrets from the Saddle podcast, and they are all there. So if you have a favorite, or if there's one that you like, you want to go back and listen to, or you want to listen to, or you heard that, you know, I had this guest, they're all there and they're all current, and all the notes and links are there too. So those are two places. So today we are going to talk about the 4 key bike skills. You're like, woo, bike skills, there's got to be more. Well, there are more, but they're kind of lumped into these 4 categories, in my opinion. And maybe, you know, like other cycling coaches might have their opinion, but this is how I coach and how I coaching my clients and how I kind of break up the skill structure. Now, you might be thinking like, just think to yourself, like, what am I kind of lacking right now based on my summer performance or competition, or um, you're just like super intrigued on how to um, just think about what those things are to you. Like you've been reading a little bit, you're like, I've heard about this pedal stroke or pedal form thing. I've heard about economy versus um, efficiency. What is that? Well, economy versus efficiency. I did a whole podcast episode on that. So um, go to Instagram, go find it. I don't know which one it is, but I'll try and link it right here. And the thing is that we have to think about the first thing. If you're like, oh, I just know everything, I go, nobody knows everything. I will never concede to knowing everything. I love learning. I literally, guys, answer this question for me. How many cycling related training books do you have at home? I just pulled all of mine out and I literally have about 15 of them, like all types. Like I have Joe Friel stuff. I have Hunter Allen's books. I have Michael Colgan's. I have, you know, swim, bike, run, bike racing for juniors, how to put together a plan, you know, workouts for cyclists, everything. I have it. And I reference those all the time when it comes to putting together different programs or just for content as a coach. So here are the 4 key bike skills. Now remember, go back to that list. Is it hill climbing that you would really like to get better at? Because usually I have not met so many people in my coaching career, because I have a women's cycling club and I've coached over 900 women that have said that they love hills. Like it's usually everybody hates them. And you know why you don't like them? Do you know why? Does anybody know? It's because you don't know how to ride and climb a hill. And I felt the same way when I used to adventure race. So adventure racing was mountain biking, hiking, kayaking, rappelling, multi-sport event. And the bike sections were always the longest, right? Because they're using it to get you from A to B. So like maybe from the paddle section to the hike section. It could be 80 kilometers. It could be 2 days long. You're on your bike. And so I just remember, oh my gosh, because usually you're going up some sort of ski hill, down some power line, something, and it's technical and it's hilly. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I hate these hills. I literally hate them, but I would rarely get off my bike and walk my bike because that's even more painful than pushing it up the hill. Would you agree? Like, honestly, if I could go super slow up a hill to avoid walking, I would. I will. I did. And then I got a coach, and then I really I started following Mad Dog and spinning, and that's where I think I really got it. It's the pedal form. And if you've got good pedal form, and you use it in different ways on your hill, then you can really motor without much effort. Granted, yes, you will hit a hill that you max out on and you're going to go down to 4 kilometers an hour. But the number one thing is smoothing out your pedal stroke and understanding what that is. And, the 4 quadrants: the top, the push down, the sweep, the pull up in the back, engaging different muscle groups as well. So if you understand that, then you can switch your muscle groups around. Especially I find that when you do time trials, especially because you're so used to like the hammer down and you have to keep a consistent pace, right? So what if your hamstrings or your quads are really starting to burn and tire? Well, then you have an option of like pulling, or pulling and kicking forward, pulling and kicking forward. So you have the right and left. So the right is pulling, the left is kicking. And then, so switching it up so your muscles have a little bit of time to actually recover while you're doing that. So imagine if you knew how to do it. You're like, what? Exactly. Imagine if you knew how to do that. Like I have a 4-week cycling skills 4-week workshop for women, men too, but women are the ones who come out for these things, and you're going to learn about that. And I have a 16-week winter program, and basically we just drill that in because you need that for flat endurance riding, you need it for hill climbing, you need it for sprinting, you use it for competition. And it's just like when you get it, it's like the light bulb just went off and you like just improved 20%. I know, crazy. So the number 2 is hills. Like we all know, like, yeah, I'm just going to hammer up the hills. That's just the way I do it. Well, is that the smartest way to approach your hill? Are you going to think about being more economical? Being more economical, like we think, if you think about economical with regards to cars, we're always looking for a more economical car, right? It burns less fuel, more mileage. So what if you're expelling less energy and you're going faster? Ooh, imagine that. I mean, that to me is like, I can go all day, every day, and I'm not burning, like building up lactic acid, burning all these calories and just burning myself out on my ride, right? So hills. And the more I did a lot of coaching on hills this year. And I do it every year, but this year it's always like, and particularly I went on this group ride. It was a 100K group ride, and I was like more of a beginner intermediate group. And there's this one hill in the 100K, and I pull out a little coaching when I'm in the group rides for my club. So as a coach, kind of like helping out, like making people understand that. So we're coming up the hill. I'm like, okay, everyone, we see a hill approaching. What is the first thing that you do? Well, you get your bike ready for the hill. And that means getting off the big ring, moving it to the small ring, using your mid-range gears in the back, and then slowing it down. So we're in a group ride. Like this isn't a sprint to the hill, to the top. If you slow everybody down, everybody's going to be able to make it to the top together. And it's a beautiful thing. But the end, a lot quieter. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no grinding it out. Like I'm just changing the gears from big ring to small ring. And because I've just maxed out in the back and my chain is crossed and all that. So it's being smart, because if you could approach your hill being more efficient or being more economical, you're going to be able to keep that speed going up. And at the top, you're not going to be all tired. Do you know, can you relate to that? Being tired, it's like, oh, I gotta stop and rest. And of course, if you're the first to the top, then the last person always gets screwed, right? Because everybody shows up, the last person shows up, like, all right, let's go. How many people have been in that situation? Raise your hand. Like, oh my God. So being in the right gear when you hit the hill is so important. And then there's like, how do you change your gears like smoothly and quietly because I have this little technique. It's like push, change, pedal through, push, change, pedal through. And that's what I teach in my courses, my 4-week and my 16-week. And it's a much easier way of like, you know, lurching your bike forward, taking the resistance off or the pressure off the chain, change it, then pedal through. Push, change, pedal through, push, change, pedal through. And when you're pushing, it's like from 12 to 3, it's like push, or like 2 to 5. So you're pushing and then you release the resistance or on the pedal, and then you change and then you follow through with the gear change. And so things like that. And then there's also transitioning from seated to standing, right? How, you know, making that smooth and fluid, and, you know, so that if you're in a group ride, you don't kind of backpedal a little bit and get in somebody's face. Ever had that? Whoa, what's going on? So hills are so important, right? Because it is part of the ride. There's always going to be that hill. And then learning how to ride the rollers, the rolling hills, like punching at the top, you know, powering down, powering through the hill, powering half the way up and punching it. And I just love riding rollers. Like they are so much fun. So if you know how to manage them, and also descending, oh my gosh, just lay off the brakes a little bit at a time. Number 3 is fuel. So it's funny because a lot of people don't think that this is important. They don't put much importance on it. They would rather go to their local bike shop and get stocked up on cubes, jelly beans, honey, you know, Cliff Bars. All these things are so sugary and just upset your stomach. So, I mean, there's a place for those, but it shouldn't be every little bit of it. It's important to be able to access and bring with you some whole food, like meal bars, not protein bars, meal bars. We don't want protein bars because we're looking for more carbohydrates, for quick energy. And, you know, like potatoes, bagels, some people like bananas. I don't like bananas. What else have I seen? Sweet potatoes, white potatoes. Some people like nuts. They don't work for my stomach. They're really hard to digest. You need some stuff. You need your food to be quickly digestible. Like bagels, I find are like the fastest. And then if you could put jam and peanut butter on it and some cheese, boom, you got something that's gonna like sustain you for a long time. What else? I'm sure everybody's got kind of their favorites. They make their favorite granola bars from scratch. I've seen those. I like to keep it just simple. Things at home, not get too fancy, basically because I don't have time to get fancy. Who does? So, I just don't want to talk about what you're going to bring on your ride. And a lot of people think, well, I'm only going out for an hour or 2. I'm like, yeah, but what if that turns to 2 and 3 and 4 hours? What are you going to do? I encourage everybody to bring more over less. So it's always like, you know, I look at everybody's back pockets and I see how full they are, or unless they have a little bag on the front of their bike, like how much food are they bringing? Because coffee shop croissants are not a source of food. I've found that out, not the hard way, but it's just something I realized. And so you shouldn't rely on that. And it doesn't matter how long you're going, because everybody is working at different levels and burn calories differently. So we're just talking about on the ride. Now, what do you do before your ride? And again, people are like, well, I'm just going for an hour. I go, well, if you're going for an hour, maybe by yourself, you can afford to not load up on a bunch of food. So like half an hour out, half an hour back. You know, there's your ride. Fine. maybe you can get away with it without eating something substantial. Now, if you're going for a group ride, that's a different story because you can get pushed way past your limits and you're going to burn a whole lot more calories and carbohydrates just from that ride. And if you have not eaten properly or fueled properly, or you just like you ate 3 hours ago, and you're going for a night ride or a tour of the Gatineau Park, which is all hills, how do you think you're going to feel afterwards? Pretty depleted. And depleting your body is not good because it takes a while for your body to replenish, right? If you keep doing that to your body, how is your body going to start reacting? So I always talk about, like, I mix up a super condensed meal shake. I mean, it is like 600 to 700 calories, or like at least 500 for group rides. So that's 2 scoops of my meal replacement shake, plus oats, plus a banana, plus avocados, plus peanut butter, plus. I mean, if you use any one of those combinations, you just have to do the calorie count and it becomes over 600. And I have so much energy. I'm so full, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't eat. You should always be eating like at least an hour into your ride, at least minimum. And then your post-ride, protein shake, BCAAs, recovery, something that's going to help your body recover from what just happened. It doesn't matter how long or how easy it was. You're still working your body and your body deserves to be replenished. So that's number 3. Number 4 is sprinting. Who loves a good sprint? Who loves a good breakaway? Who loves a good punch to the top? Who loves a good sprint for the city limits? Yeah, raise your hand. We have a couple around here, and it's always like the plan at the end of the workout that's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to like leave it out on the road, finish off the workout, the sprint to the city limits, and then back to the car. So, so sprinting in itself, if you're thinking about racing, sprinting plays a pretty big role. Whether, like, even if you're doing time trials, your end of the time trial sprint needs to be strong, or it should be strong, and that should be where you like just finish yourself off. Criteriums. You're sprinting at every corner. How do you manage that? How do you get out of the saddle? What are the right gears? How do you sit back in to maintain? So these are things that I love teaching on and coaching in the 4-week program. And the 16-week, we do a lot of drills more in the 3rd month to the 4th month, right? We got to periodize our program. And that's where we start shortening up our sprints or doing longer sprints. So we work people up to it in our 4-week. It's just about learning the skills, and then you can take it anywhere. You can take it on Swift, Ruby, on the road. You can be anywhere in the world to take this 4-week program workshop. And the next one starts next week, Thursday. So, but we talk about sprinting and we talk about strength training. So a lot of drills you can give on the hill are strength training related. However, when we're talking about strength training, I'm talking about lifting weights, and is so important. Actually, no matter what age you are, it becomes way more important when you become 40 and above, because every year you lose a percentage of muscle. And if you lose a percentage of muscle every year, can you imagine what you're going to be like at 60 if you never pick up a set of weights and continue to build on the muscles, increasing your bone density? Cycling is great for cardio. Cycling is great for cardio. It is not a strength training component. So it's important to add that to your regime. Now, if you can't pull yourself off the road for 1, 2, like, and give yourself 3 minimum, 2 to 3 a week workouts where you're lifting some weights, you're working on your legs, you're working on your upper body, you're strengthening your core and back, then you're going to be more fatigued. You're going to be prone to injury, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis. And, like, you're not going to be able to move forward in your sports performance because cycling, weight training is very important. I never thought it was so important till like I turned 50, and I used to hate going to the gym, and I only went there if I had a goal. And, around 47, I started looking at my body and I'm like, whoa. And I worked out. And so I was like, it's no longer a luxury to get into the gym. It's mandatory that I need to do this and I need to add it to my regime, like on the season, off the season. And so it was just a flip of the switch, the mindset. It was a non-negotiable for me to work out weekly. And I've seen great benefits and I felt great benefits on my rides. Like I can't even tell you, and I will continue. And that's why I created also Cycle and Fitness. So Cycle Fitness is an online training, weight training program or workouts. So, I have a lot of cyclists, female cyclists who have joined, and we work out together either live or they use the on-demand library where they can go and there's over 80 workouts that are 45 minutes and they're total body. So like continually strengthening your core every week is so important. And the thing is that you cannot quickly build that ever. And, which I always thought like, that would be awesome. And, like I work out, so why don't I have abs? That's totally my mindset, by the way. And, they'll just appear. I'm working out, like I'm doing this. And yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, right. Anyway, it took me a couple of years to realize that. So don't be like me. You have to maintain yourself and you have to continue maintaining. You have to start, show up, maintain, make it a part of your lifestyle. It is as important as that group ride. So those are the 4, counted 4, key bike skills. And I know like nutrition is not a bike skill, but it is a skill that you need to exercise every time you go out riding. What are you drinking? Are you drinking enough? What are you eating? Are you eating enough? Are you eating the right stuff? Is it serving you well? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And they should all be yes. Now, with that, I was mentioning the 4-week cycling skills 4-week workshop for women new to cycling or women who have been in cycling are still like, how can I get better? How can I get better? And it all comes down to technique and building on those fundamental foundational skills, right? We always talk about the foundation of a house. If you don't build a strong foundation, you can't build a strong house. And if you don't have strong skills as a cyclist or even knowledge of skills, how can you get better? Period. Right? It kind of makes sense. So that's where I put together this 4-week workshop. And basically it touches on all the skills. Okay. At the end here, I have a little video I'm going to add, and it shows the program, and it's got some testimonials. And basically the way it runs is you got four weeks: pedal, hills, fuel, and speed. Those are your 4 weeks. And each week we join together on a webinar, and I go over first the demonstration or the description. I write it out on the board. For those who are visual, it's important to visually see and understand what's going on. So I get that. So each one of these has that visual component. The next one, I get on my bike and I demonstrate what I'm talking about. Okay, so now you can visually, like you can really see what's happening on the bike. You can't really see it, but you can see it. And then I get you on your bike and I put you through some drills. So you can kind of like, okay, this is what she's saying. Now, this is what I should start feeling. So it's putting your legs through the motion of these skills. And then I give you homework. So I give you some drills to do with relation to what we just learned so that you can go out and put it to practice. And I have a Q&A during the week. So the workshop is Thursday at 12 noon Eastern. And so I'm trying that time frame. So it's a lunchtime, it's like 45 minutes to an hour. And then you're not going to sweat, by the way. You're just going to jump on the bike and go through the motions. And then on Tuesday at noon, there's the Q&A. So if you have questions from that period where you went out, you did the drills or you did them on your trainer or whatnot, you can come back and go, oh, I don't understand. Can you explain that a little bit more, how this work and things like that? So I love that because I've done a couple of these already and people always have questions. So you have lots of opportunity to ask the questions. So that one, I have a special code for you guys, and it's to get $50 off. The code is for double WK50 for week 50, for WK50 to get $50 off. And you go to cyclingskillspro.com. Everything's going to be in the show notes. So if you forget, just go there and check it out. Now, if you want something more intense, like I did that so it's quick. So some people have their stuff together. They just want to know the skills and that's it. My 16-week is like literally, we will be practicing every week. And by the time you're done, guaranteed, I've been doing this for like 15 years, you will always remember what the pedal stroke form is because you will practice it so many times, flats, standing, sprinting, that when you go hit that hill, you will hear me screaming at you you like smooth it out, drop the hill, sweep, kick, things like that. And you will feel how powerful and strong you will become. I have recorded 5 to 20% improvement in that program. We tested the beginning, we tested the end. If you have a trainer, you will use heart rate and wattage for the program. We do it completely on power or heart rate. So you choose and which one you have. So imagine you could train in your actual heart rate or power zones all winter long. How powerful that can be, and then testing at the end. So this is, so go to the show notes. The 16-week is 16wkroadcycling.ca and secure your spot because it starts in November with a warm-up and the official program starts in December for 4 months. Break at Christmas. And there are 2 options, a basic and a VIP. So you have to go to the website and just take a look. But the VIP, I'll tell you right now, has everything that the basic has in, but it's more coaching. These are the people who want to have more coaching and planning for next year. That is the VIP. So I'll take your goals. I meet with you. We look at your bike. We do a little visual bike fit and see what's going on. And there's more coaching on setting up your program outside of our program to get you to your goal. So And then the basic is just show up. We have lots of little extra bonuses. You actually, here's it, you actually get a membership to my online fitness membership while you're in the program. So you work out, because remember, this is a key part of training, is hitting the weights, because it helps so much with performance improvement. So if that doesn't motivate you enough to think that, and also, you know, just think about strengthening your body, right? And being more powerful on the hills, and, you know, sprinting past and learning some little tips and tricks on how you can be that powerhouse on the hill, right? Show it off for your friends. I see those groups of guys out there. You know, you want to show up in the spring and really like just show off your new skills. And instead of sitting on Swift and just doing the same old, sprinting here, racing there, doing some climbs, like really do your climbs, like really. And then show off your skills in the spring. So with that, have an amazing Friday. Oh my God, my husband, we've got chickens and we're getting more chickens. So I wasn't able to go because I was busy all morning, right? I told you. And I had to get my stuff done, which is this. And then they went off to a farmer who's kind of retiring from chickens, and he's giving some away. So we're going to have 5 more chickens in our coop by the end of the day. So make sure you follow on Instagram. I talk about them briefly. So again, just check out those programs. If you're sitting there wondering why and how you can improve while you are on Swift or sitting on your trainer at home in your basement, this is the best way you can do that. Or maybe you're, the thing is that these sessions are recorded, so you'll get it. So if you can't show up, they will be available. All right. So with that, everyone, have an amazing weekend. Enjoy this temperature change. I love October. And I believe I asked you guys a couple things. So make sure you go to YouTube and provide your comments. Love you all. I'm so grateful for you as our listeners, our loyal listeners. Please share this with somebody. Share with one person, just one person. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Thank you for looking at my 4-week road cycling skills program. As you will see, there are the 3 segments, how we break up the hour, explanation, demonstration, and then getting you on the bike to fully explain the skills, along with the amazing bonuses we have for the 4 weeks. And our community page, you will also get the full recording of each segment, each webinar for your records, so you can go back on them. If you have any questions, please reach out and ask. I look forward to seeing you in the program and helping you better yourself as a cyclist. Speed, so accelerating out of the saddle, really getting into using more of our gears. And also, we want to become more economical, is being able to go long distance. So right here is 90, 94, 95, 92. You ultimately want to add gears and train in harder gears at 90 RPM, which is going to make you stronger. 11 to 3 or 2 right here. So it's driving those knees, boom, boom, boom. So that's the top. You have the 2 sides. Now let's go to the bottom. It's the same thing from 5 to 7. You're sweeping, you're kicking.
I learned a lot about you know, the technical part, especially at the beginning of our session.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some things I thought I was doing okay, but there's definitely some room for improvement. And I think that'll really help, you know, improve my cycling.
Definitely.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to trying some of these things outside, but I'm going to get on my train.
About the program, the 16-week program that she's doing right now, and she'll tell you about what she's getting out of it.
Hi. You know what? This is the first time I've ever done a cycling clinic like this. It's very tough, but it's so rewarding. We're 4 weeks in. I have tried to talk myself out every night before coming to class, and I make it to class. And I'm learning so many new things about cycling that I had no idea I needed to know on the road in order to be efficient and to, you know, have really good endurance and to use my muscles when I needed to use them and not end up bonking halfway through my ride. And this 16-week program is going to get me to April to get me back on the road where I'm going to be faster and a better cycler and just to be able to go longer and stronger and harder and faster.
And you're doing it for what?
And I'm doing it for my next half Ironman race.
Yeah, excellent. Half I am right there.
Hi, my name is Lily, and I took Sylvie's 16-week training program for a couple years back. One of the things that I really paid attention to, that I learned a lot from, was just the pedal stroke. It looks kind of weird at first, but then I found that with the years now, it's just something I think about, and when things start getting tough, I think, okay, how's my pedal stroke? What can I do? And I focus on that when I'm getting tired or annoyed. So that's one point. Cadence, well, again, that's something different, but that's something I just started to really pay more attention to, because once you get your pedal stroke, it makes such a big difference. Power, when using the trainer bikes that they had in the studio there, I found it very hard to get past a certain level. I reached a limit where I thought, I don't want to do this. It was just too much. But then again, you know, some days when you're feeling better than others, then you say, okay, maybe I can reach that extra little level. It's a hard workout, but it's something that pays off in the long run. It's something you don't forget. Year after year, the pedal stroke is still there, it's still important. And then once you get the feeling of it and you realize, oh yeah, when I do this now, it's easier, especially climbing. Climbing for me is a big deal. So I guess that's about what's made the most difference. And also by doing it regularly, you get to know your limits and you get to know how far you can push.
And then in the fall, winter of that year, I joined the 16-week winter program, where it was endurance and pedal stroke and nutrition and heart rate zones. And I learnt more, building on skills. And then when I got back on the bike again this year in 2020, I bought a new bike, a road bike, and I managed to ride 4,000 kilometers. So I'm really proud of myself, and that's all been thanks to the club.
Cool.